Hello, welcome to Joy in Our Town. My name's Michelle Bell and I'm your host today. I am super excited to have Harvey with us from Angels and Doves, and we are going to speak today about other people's interests. Philippians 2:4 says, "Don't look out for your own personal interests only, but also for the interests of others." Kim, welcome.
Thank you so much.
Now tell me a little bit about Angels and Doves.
My mother and I co-created Angels and Doves 8 years ago. And our mission is to absolutely put an end to bullying injuries and bullying suicides from ages 4 to 18.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. And I understand that your mom and you co-founded this together.
Yes, we did.
And she went to be with the Lord last year.
She did.
She did.
Yeah.
And how are you doing on solo?
Well, yeah, it's hard. It's almost miserable, but you know what? It just pushes me harder, so that's
right.
okay.
That's right. You're doing what your mom would have wanted, right?
Of course.
Right.
Yeah.
So now, when does bullying typically start?
Well, unfortunately, it starts as early as preschool when certain children have very, very aggressive personalities. I really think that bullying is a learned trait. That's my opinion. Because I don't think kids want to become bullies, but they take on that trait because they're actually being bullied by somebody else. So it's very sad. It's sad. They don't want to be a bully.
And then what about the victim?
So unfortunately, the victim becomes the victim the minute somebody becomes a bully. So if it's preschool and they're ages 4 or 5 years old and there's a bully, they seek out their victim. That's when it all starts.
Is it always physical violence, or can bullying happen in other ways?
Oh, good question. There are 4 types of bullying. There's physical, which you just mentioned, being aggressive, touching, hitting, poking, biting, all right? Using an elbow, using a knee. But it's very, very, very psychologically based. So there is a lot of mental bullying, which I think is actually worse than any physical bullying.
Can you give me an example of that?
Yeah. So unfortunately, there are a lot of kids right now in schools coast to coast, mainly middle school age, that go to school, choose their victim, or their target, as we like to call them. And they will say things as detrimental as, "You should just go home and kill yourself." These are not stories. This is real. It's hard to believe. It's hard for me to believe, and I'm in this, that kids actually say that to each other. So when a child, male or female, no matter what age, when they're hearing that, "You should go home and just kill yourself," they don't have the emotional wherewithal to even filter that or understand it. And when you hear it every week and then every month and a whole school year, we all know sometimes they do take their own life.
So that's physical, and then we have emotional.
And we have verbal. And we have cyber, which is any electronic device. So like your computer, which you do emails on, and then your phone, where you're taking pictures of other people and sending pictures to other people without their permission, or calling people, or sending text messages where these kids talk about other people, say untruthful things about other people, and at that age, they're impressionable. They listen, they believe, they repeat. The work is done.
So how does Angels and Doves come alongside these kids and help them?
So my mom and I would travel across the country, and of course I'm still doing that, and speak. So we give a professional educational speech to kids, whether it's in a school or a church or a community center or an after-school program. We educate.
So many times, is it on the part of the bully all they know?
Most bullies know better. So, and again, that's a good question, thank you. Most bullies do know better, but there is a very small percentage that's all they've seen in life is violence, you know? Some of them just see violence in their home, and lying and cheating and pain and mental abuse and or physical abuse. and or sexual abuse.
You know, I found this statistic as of 2015, Indiana has the highest rate in the country of teens who have considered suicide, and the second highest rate of those that have attempted it, according to the report from Indiana Youth Institute.
Oh my gosh.
So what say you?
Yeah. So, you know what? Again, it has to start with education. If it can't start in their own home, which we know sometimes it does not, and teachers have to be teachers. They can't be babysitters. We understand that as well. So here we are, the third party, that we're willing, offering, seeking places to speak. We want to come in. We want to educate. We want to help.
So give me a snippet of what your day looks like when you speak.
Okay, so we go in and we offer to speak in one class period, so we don't disrupt the school. You know, if a class period is 50 minutes, we speak in 50 minutes.
Okay.
And they may want us to do 5 presentations in one day, one to each age or to one grade. Or they may want it split into 2 so that there aren't so many kids in the presentation. I bring in a great slide presentation with a lot of pictures. We all know that people are visual, so a lot of pictures. I always take a police officer with me so that I can prove to kids that the police are our friends. They're not our enemy, they're a friend. And they speak a little bit about cyberbullying to let kids know, hey, when you mess around on your phone or your computer, there are numbers associated with your computer. There are cell phone numbers associated with your phone. We know who you are. And their eyes get this big because they don't know that. It scares them. Well, we don't want to scare them, but again, we want to educate them. So they're very surprised to know that.
Well, do you have kids that come to you afterwards?
Again, another good question. I do. And I've been in situations where kids have piled around me. I actually have photos of little 7 and 8-year-old children from a Boys and Girls Club right here in Indiana. When I was finished, they swarmed me and hugged me. Now that's after 50 minutes of speaking to them and not really knowing them. That warms my heart. That shows me that I did something. I broke a barrier. I created a safe place. I got through to them. They hug me. They want to touch me. They want to hold my hand. That's love. And that's my first and foremost mission when I go speak. I want these kids to know that somebody loves them, because that's the only thing that breaks hate is love.
That's right.
Yeah.
So you're looking after the interests of others.
Yes.
Bullying wasn't what it is today.
No.
When I was in school.
I agree.
We could get away from it, but it seems now a relentless force
It is.
from several different fronts that kids have to face now.
So you use the word force. Okay? That's darkness. All right? And I believe that that's what is happening. Okay? There's light and there's dark. And I believe that that is a dark force that has come upon our youth. And we have to fight it with light. And it has gotten worse.
Yes. So that light, Jesus Christ. Right?
Absolutely.
Right. And so how do you bring Jesus into the conversation?
Yeah. And of course, as we all know, I can't say his name in schools or I won't be asked back. But that's okay, because Jesus knows that I'm there to do his work. And my light shines hopefully through me, and my love and my words that I'm speaking.
Right.
I'm decreeing a thing upon these children.
Speaking life.
I'm speaking love. Yeah.
Well, the Bible says when we lift him up, he'll draw men.
Yes.
And so the love that you're showing is no doubt allowing these children a safe place to share with you
Yes.
perhaps what they've been going through.
I agree.
So is it allowing the bullies to think again?
Well, an example. I was in a middle school, okay? And I was speaking to a very large group in a gymnasium. And as I'm speaking, my eyes, like God says his eyes are going to and fro searching, my eyes are scanning the kids to see who's sad, because I can pick out the kids immediately from what I'm seeing. And all of a sudden, I see a group of kids over here starting to cry. And these are 13, 14-year-olds. And they're crying. So obviously, I'm thinking they're the victims. Of course. When I'm finished speaking, again, I had a crowd of teenagers lined up to meet me. And a group of girls came up to me and said, "Did you see the kids that were crying?" And I said, "Yeah." I said, "It broke my heart." And the one girl spoke up and said, "They were the bullies." And I said, "Really?" And she said, "Yes, and you made them feel so badly." And they went to the principal's office and they actually asked for forgiveness, so they were repenting.
That's good.
I reached them and they repented, and I did it. There it was right there. It unfolded right in front of my very own eyes.
Well, and not just to speak life into those children, but also the kids that they might have been victimized a little later.
Absolutely.
So
It
you
took a
changed a
burden off
community.
of their heart. Yeah.
Wonderful.
Yes.
Now, how would a person go about being involved in
Oh,
your
it's
ministry?
so easy. They can call 317-870-1100. They can get on our website. They can email us. We're very easy to get to.
Okay. And how would they get a hold of you to maybe schedule a time?
Yeah, that would be great. Again, the website is a great place to jump in or to call the number, and we respond immediately.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that is so wonderful.
Yeah, thank you.
You know, I just believe that we as Christ ambassadors should offer hope. And I am so thankful, we are so thankful that you are out there on the front lines
Thank you.
in the schools and speaking to the next generation
Yeah.
about a better way to live
Yeah,
and
thank
encourage
you.
others to love. Love.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for joining us on Joy in Our Town. It has been my pleasure to be your host, and I just encourage you to get out there in your town and bring joy wherever you go.